Hello everyone, welcome to Unblock 404, and today we are going to talk about Tableau. Before we deep dive into data visualization, it's important to understand what is Tableau. We will also be talking about various uses of Tableau as well. I will also mention about few companies who are using Tableau these days. After when we are done with all this theoretical part, we will go on to the practical with data visualization using Tableau. We will start with creating a bar graph. After that, we will go on creating a line graph. And in the end, we'll end the session by creating a Pareto chart, which is nothing but a combination of a bar graph and a line graph. So without any further ado, let's begin today's tutorial. So let's begin with our first question. What is Tableau? So Tableau is a famous tool for data visualization and data analysis. What do I mean by data visualization? It's basically a graphical representation of a data set or data. And what do I mean by data analysis? It's basically getting to know about the result or getting meaningful insights from that graphical representation or data visualization of your data set. For instance, so let me explain this to you with the help of an example. So here in Tableau, I have created a sample dataset of 8 countries and their respective population as of now. What we are going to do is we will be going to sheet 1, and while pressing Control key, I will be selecting countries and population. Then after releasing the Control key, we will be going to show me here, and we'll be clicking pie chart. Now here we are having a pie chart which shows us the representation of each and every country as per their population. So here we can see India and China are both of the countries here are having majority of the population, and here we are having like Australia, Canada, and France, who are having very less contribution as per the population as compared to China and India. So this graphical representation is giving you some insights, or you have analyzed this information by yourself that China and India, these countries are having the highest amount of population as compared to all the other 6 countries left. So that's what I mean with the first statement for data visualization and data analysis. Coming back to the second point, it was founded in January 2003. Tableau was basically first time it was uh, introduced in January 2003. And it basically gives you an opportunity to understand the past data and to forecast future with the help of modeling or with the help of uh, forecasting methods which are there in Tableau already. So it gives you an opportunity to dig deeper into the data, to analyze the past data vigorously so that you can uh, get to know about future prospects of your data or where your data is heading in the future. So that's about it. And the parent company of Tableau is Salesforce, one of the biggest organization in the world and well known as well. And if you talk about the competitors of Tableau, there's a software named as Click. So it's one of the best competitor if you talk about Tableau. So moving on to the second question, I would like to highlight that it's really important to understand that Tableau has multiple suites or versions or models to work on. So depending upon your users or depending upon the customer requirement, you can choose any of the module or any of the version from these five options. So these are, the first one is desktop, then public, it can be online or server version or reader version. So I'm gonna take the details of these versions one by one. So starting with Tableau Desktop, which we will be working on, it's basically used for data visualization. It's mainly used for data visualization, data analysis, data forecasting, and all. So all the data manipulation is done basically on Tableau majorly. If you don't want to go online or you don't want to work on any server, if you have the data on your desktop, and you just want to work on an extracted data, or if you want to work on a data which you already have in your system, you can prefer Tableau Desktop. Moving on to the next version or next module, it's Tableau Public. So Tableau Public is basically whenever you want to save a workbook in Tableau Public, it cannot be saved on your system. It cannot be saved locally. So Tableau has its own cloud platform, so all the workbooks will be added over to the cloud. And these workbooks, as the name suggests, that it's Tableau Public, so these workbooks can be accessed by anyone. So it has less data privacy. There's no privacy at all. So that's the major concern, I would say. That's the main advantages. Moving on to the next module, it's Tableau Server. In Tableau Server, it's just like Tableau Cloud, but it's more, it's just like Tableau Public, but it's more of like private thing. You have the data secured within the organization. For instance, you have Tableau working in an organization and there are a few set of employees or a team who is working on a project, data science project, then that file is uploaded over to the cloud, and the people who are in the same organization or who are in the same team are having the same credentials, login ID, password, only those people can access that data. So it's not published publicly, so it's only for a limited amount of people. So that's Tableau Server. Moving on to Tableau Online, it's nothing but a sharing tool, and it's like data stored in servers which are hosted in cloud. It's totally different from Tableau Cloud. It's, you can say, the data is stored in uh, somewhere else, like let's say MySQL or Hive or Spark SQL, or there can be any more data sources. Later on, I'll show you guys more. There are more than 40 data sources. There's a complete list. At the end of the video, I'll share it with you. I'll show you guys how to go through the list. And that's Tableau Online. And last but not the least is Tableau Reader. It's basically only to read the workbook. Editing is not at all allowed. You cannot edit your workbook or anyone's workbook. It's just for reading purposes. If you want to take a look over a workbook, and it's totally free. So Tableau Reader is totally free. Tableau Desktop is totally free. And if you want to, Tableau Public is again free. And if you want to get Tableau for an organization purposes, obviously you have to pay for that. So in this tutorial, we will be working on Tableau Desktop. So we will be discussing more about data analysis and data manipulation through Tableau Desktop. Moving on to the uses of Tableau. So before covering the uses of Tableau, there are a variety of uses. There are n number of uses of Tableau. I have only included 3 of them. So the first one is data blending. So data blending is nothing. It's just let's say we are having two different databases, database A and database B, and we are having few category or few columns taken from database A and few columns taken from database B, and we are merging them up, or we can combining them to get a data to get some reasonable output. So it's just like that, data blending. And we will do some practicals on data blending as well. And real-time analysis, it's as the name suggests, it's just like when the user is able to get instant analysis or on-the-spot analysis, and the results and the insights from the data, well, when the users are able to get the insights and results on the spot. You don't have to wait. Just after a few clicks and just after a few seconds, you're having the results right in front of you. So that this helps the business to act faster as well. You don't have to wait for the results to come out and then you'll make the decisions for the business. It's just a couple of minutes. You'll have the results and you can just take the valuable decisions for the business. So it is good for real-time analysis as well. Talking about the third point, collaboration of data. So it's easy. It combines the data you can import the data from any source possible. You name it, and the source is available in Tableau already. So there is no I would say there is no limitation to this. There's no limitation to the input sources. You just think of any input source and you can import the data of that source file. For example, Excel file or any, let's say, Microsoft Access file or any file, let's say text file or JSON file, any file you can just import it. So that's not a big concern in Tableau. Also, in data collaboration, you can multiple people can work on the same data at the same point of time as well. Let's say you have made some changes in the data, you have removed some rows, and then you want that particular data to get processed by someone else. Then that person can get the access of the same data at the same time if possible, and he or she can make the changes according to your convenience. So he already has the updated data set with him, and he can make the changes as soon as possible. So collaboration is a really good, really amazing thing in Tableau. So that's all about the uses of Tableau. So moving on to the next part of the videos, as I said, I will be talking about few companies who are using Tableau these days. So I managed to get these 5 companies out of n number of list. So obviously there are many organizations who are using Tableau these days, and I searched over a link which is in the description box below. Make sure you go through that link. Who knows, maybe your company is in there. So I searched over this website and I've got top 5 companies who are using Tableau. So the first one is Coldwell Banker Richard Ellis. So this is the first company which is into real estate, and the second company is, we all know that, JPMC, JP Morgan and Chase, and the third one is Apple. We already know what that is. And the fourth one is AT&T, and the fifth one is Home Depot. And obviously there are many other companies who are there and making use of Tableau for data visualization, analysis, and manipulation. So yeah, there will be many more companies who will be joining the list as well. So make sure you go through the link which is in the description box below, so that you get to know, you get a fair idea what all companies are using Tableau these days, and you'll find, I would say, every company in the list. So make sure you go through that list to get an idea of it. So let's move on to the next section of this video, which is data visualization. See you there. So before we get into data visualization, I would like to highlight one thing which I mentioned earlier about importing the data from a server, and there are 40 plus import sources available in Tableau, and you can import it from here. This is the home page of Tableau desktop, and you can import it from here. You can click more, and these are the 40 plus input sources from where you can import the data. So let's say, for instance, I have my data in MySQL. I can click here and then this dialog box will appear. I'll just enter the server details and that's it. I'll just sign in and I'm ready to import. As simple as that. So for today's session, I have already created a sample data for only 8 rows and 2 columns. And I've already imported it as well. This is the data. So to import the data, what you have to do, you can just drag it from your desktop or drag it from your computer and put it here somewhere, and you'll see a window like this. So this is your data. This window will show your data, and this will mention your sheet name, whichever sheet is opened. And to work on a data set, you have to go to a worksheet. So you can click here to go onto a worksheet, and this is the canvas where you'll be working on. So these are the dimensions, basically, I would say non-numeric values mostly. So mostly it contains non-numeric values, and measures has mostly numeric values. So let's create a bar chart first without wasting any time. So for that, we have to drag countries, let's say to columns, and we will be dragging population to rows. There we have it, a simple bar graph. Without any problem, we are having this bar graph in front of us, which shows each and every country's population in front of us. So always remember, for bar graph, you need to have discrete values on x-axis. So what mentioning about the difference between the discrete values and continuous values. So discrete values are those which are different from one another, which discrete values can be any integer value. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 15, 1,000, 10,000, 1 million, 10 million, 10 million, or any name or product name, country name, name of people, or anything, state, city, organization names, or anything. But if we talk about continuous variables, it has to be continuous. For example, weight of a person, or let's say time is continuous. And so it's basically, but when we create a bar graph, the bar graph is always created over discrete variables, and a line graph, which we will be creating next, is always created on continuous variables. As simple as that. So let's take on a line graph. So for line graph, I have taken this sample superstore dataset. I'll double click here, and it's this dataset is already available with Tableau, so you don't have to download it from anywhere. It should come pre-installed. So to create a line graph, what you have to do is simply drag a date. Let's say we'll take order date, drag it into columns, and let's take profit and drag it in rows. Simple line graph is available here, and if you want to increase the size, you can simply do it like this, and that's it. 4 years of data of profit, as a line graph is in front of you. If you want to get this data not by year wise, by month wise or quarter wise, what you can do is you can simply click the plus sign here, click it here, and then you have the data yearly as well as quarter wise. Or if you want to get the data monthly, you have to do the same thing again. You can click the plus sign here, and here you have the data month wise and then quarter wise and then year wise. So it keeps on expanding. For instance, if I click plus again, so this data is date wise, date, then month, then quarter, and then year. If you want your data only in month, let's say you don't want to see the year, you just want to see January, February till December, what you can do is you can right click here, or you can simply click the drop down button here and click month. Now here you will see the data of January, February, of all the months. So what it does is it'll combine all the 4 years of January data and then it'll show up here. Same happens with February and it'll show up here. And same with all the months respectively. So it'll take an average, of all the 4 years of data, and per month, per month 4 years of data, and it'll calculate the average and then it'll show up to the screen per month. You can do the same with date as well. Right click, click on date, there you have it. Now you can see the profit of your superstore day wise for a month, obviously. So that's how you go about it. If you want to manipulate the time frame, you can simply right click and you can choose whatever you want. Let's say if I want to go for month, so it'll simply show month and with year. So as you can see, it started with November, May, and then November, May, and so on. So it basically covers year as well as month. So it basically combines both these parameters together and shows you the data. So that's about the line graph as of now. Now we will be talking about a very important chart, which is Pareto chart. So let me rename the sheet here by double clicking, and I'll just write it as Pareto chart. Yeah. So Pareto chart is basically a combination of a bar chart and a line chart. So it's important to understand all the steps because it can get pretty rough if you don't understand it. So it's a request from my side to follow all these steps cautiously. So what you have to do, first create a bar graph. For that, as I have already explained, take a discrete variable first. Let's say let's take category or product category, let's say product subcategory. What do you have to do? Drag it to columns. You'll have all the subcategories here listing alphabetically. After that, let's take profit, or let's take quantity. Drag it to the columns. Now, as simple as that, you are getting this as per the quantity. You are getting a very usual bar chart. Now what do you have to do? You have to create another chart. So what we are going to do is let's take profit, put it into rows. Now you are having two different graphs. First one is for quantity and category, subcategory, and the second one is for profit and subcategory. Now, what you have to do to make it look clean, first take the first graph and sort it in ascending order. So what you are going to do is right click here, go to sort, and sort by. Always go for field because we don't want to sort it alphabetically. So go for field and sort it in descending order. Then you can click back, and there you have it, your data in descending order. Now, going towards the second graph, which is profit, the subcategory and the profit one, what we have to do is we will be going to right click here onto the second graph, and we will be going to add a table calculation, a quick table calculation, and we will be selecting a running total. Now what it does is it basically, if you have studied statistics or economics before, it's just like cumulative frequency. It keeps on adding one another. So it's just like, for instance, we have the quantity 5974 here and the running total of 30,222. Here, if you can see, we are having the running total of 64,000, here 77,000, here 121,000, and here 143,000, and so on. It keeps on increasing as we go further. So it's just like running total. What it does is it keeps on adding as cumulative frequency does, like adding the frequency one after the another. If I talk in economics terms, so it is just like cumulative frequency, but the total is runningly calculated, to be precise. Now, what you have to do is you have to make it look like one graph. So you have to merge these two graphs together to make it look like a Pareto chart. So we'll be going to the second graph, drop down, and we have to click dual axis. So here you have to remember that you will not get this option on the first on the first bar or the first graph. If you go here, you'll not see dual axis here. Why? Because it takes the second one and it merges it with the first one. So you have to go to the second table and press dual axis. Now here you'll see everything's messed up and you'll feel like you don't understand anything, but no need to worry. What you can do is, now here, this is the first graph and this is your second graph. So we'll go to the first graph, we'll go on to automatic, and we'll go for bar graph. And for the second one, we'll go for a line graph. As I told you, it is a combination of a bar graph and a line graph, and there it is. This is a Pareto chart in front of you, which is showing the subcategories quantities sold as in bar charts, and also it shows the profit of the profit by each subcategory by a line chart. So you can see the line going showing you the profit, which category gave you how much of profit, or because of which category your profit was low, and so on. So instead of taking profit, you can take any other field. Let's say you can take quantity as well, and instead of quantity you can take profit. It's all up to you. Feel free to experiment on it, and if you feel any challenge or difficulty, you can just comment down below, and I'll be really happy to assist you with that. So that's it from my side. If you feel that there's any challenge you are facing, or if you want to share any suggestion, comments, or any views or something, feel free to comment down below, or you can simply mail us at our email address, which is there in the description box below. So till then, stay safe, stay inside, and stay strong. Thank you. See you soon.